If you're not already in the top 5% of agents in your market, you're pretty much leaving life-changing money on the table every single month. You know how to win the listings, you know how to win the closes, you know how to do the negotiating, the navigating, the systems, and the hurdles already. The question is, why aren't the skills turning into that predictable pipeline of 3 to 5 closes a month? Now, the reason why discussing the big picture of marketing and branding is so important, especially in the real estate niche, because I really enjoy both. I love real estate, I love the investing, I love building houses, and I really like owning the houses. I'm also really enthusiastic about doing the marketing and branding because I find it a very interesting puzzle and challenge that matches my personality. The real problem that most agents were going to run into is that they tend to rely on referrals and random lead generation and hope instead of a system. Now, hope is wonderful, but it's not a plan. Hope is never a plan. You're good at the job of real estate, but you're going to be invisible in the market. And that's a horrible paradox to be solved. What the top 5% agents actually have is a clear marketing and branding path that feeds leads, builds authority at the same time. The top people, the top producers, they don't just do more. They leverage the systems. They use chatbots, ads, content, and build authority through the progress of their career. Probably the fastest and easiest way to move yourself from a producing side of things into the top performing side of things is to understand that there's a sort of a 3-phase path for your miracle mile. Your phase 1 is your foundation and lead control. And the reason that's so important is because when you have your foundation in place, it's logically what you're building everything else on. A rotten foundation in the house is going to be rotten results for the rest of the house. When you are building that foundation, that's going to include your basic lead capture. That's going to include all the things you need to do to move people from the greater world into your specific orbit. You need that fixed point that people can latch onto. And in the process of establishing that foundation and setting your lead control, you're going to need to do things like making sure that people are entering your orbit and you're recording who they are and what they want. You also need to get people onto this platform, which would be a website with your lead capture, preferably a chatbot because it's much more secure and you're not going to be getting as many spammers through a chatbot because someone who's actually interacting with your chatbot is going to have a higher quality than somebody who's just, here's my email, I'm expending your money on your ads. That's not so fun. Your phase 2 is going to be your ramp up to top seller with more of a multi-channel visibility because there are a lot of pieces and parts associated with breaking into the top echelons. It's not just I have a website, gee, look at me. We're past the foundational phase where we're able to collect and control our own leads, and we're into the process of using those additional channels to tell our story for us. By the time that we've reached that level, we have our basic audience. We have people we've worked with, we've got a few hundred closes under our belt, and we're clicking along with our career. This is where actually getting referrals starts to happen because your name is out there, your brand is out there, you're more developed, you're more available in the system. When you don't have any connections, you're not going to get any connections. It's really important to understand that those connections are what we establish in our foundational phase. Once we start getting to the point where our social media channels are visible and we have that YouTube presence, we have that presence on social media, we have that presence where people are watching our videos and people are interacting with us online, we need additional content to drive that. So perhaps turning our listings into video because everybody's got listing photos. Do you have a listing video that summarizes your listing? Have we taken our reviews and pulled the key points and set those to video so we can quickly get referrals from social proof? Have we future paced our rooms where we're showing what our room might look like after our client has moved in? Do we have the ability to quickly turn an MLS listing into a page for our foundational website that we can drive more traffic to because it is an open and active listing, which adds credibility to us online with the greater internet because we have credibility from the MLS, we have credibility from our listing, we have credibility from our website, and we have traffic going to our website, which builds our brand, builds our EEAT, expertise online is how it's measured. Our third phase is our professional domination. Professional domination is important because what we're doing is we have crossed over the threshold of being a regular agent, and now we are an industry expert. At that point, we're writing the book on the subject because we've been doing it so long, and our name is becoming extra important. And this is really a cool phase because you're going to reach a point where that book that builds your brand is going to have the sales conversation for you. Think about the weight difference, the emotional weight difference between someone handing a business card and you handing, "This is the book I wrote on how to buy your house. This is the book I wrote on how to sell your house. This is the series of books that I have that teach you how to do all the things associated with being in real estate as a buyer, as an investor, as a seller." Immediately, the emotional weight and the emotional credibility that you're putting out is vastly higher. Let's make sure that we're painting the destination that we're aiming for. We need to get to the point where we're 3 to 5 closes minimum a month. That's our baseline. That's our phase 1 foundational level that we want to hit. We want to move from a hungry mid-tier to a top producer, and finally to the market legend, the broker, the owner whose brand is so powerful that everybody knows your name in the community. You have seen them. You know who they are in your community. How would you feel seeing your face on that billboard? If you're serious about moving into that top 5%, let's have a quick conversation. We'll book a 15-minute marketing and branding strategy session. We'll map out what the phases are, what phases we're in, and we'll see what we can do to knock you higher and higher in that 5% category so we get to the 1% category and 1% beyond category. You're closer than you think. You just need that system. The difference between the top earning golfer on the PGA Tour and the bottom earning golfer is less than 1%. But the income that they're earning for winning those tournaments is vastly different. That's where you are. You're at that last 1% of effort. And when you hit that, things start to click. So we'll talk to you later.